Hello, seekers of justice and equality. I am Martin Luther King Jr., the reacher from Atlanta, who dreamed of a world where all people are judged by the content of their character. Join me on a journey through my life, my struggles, and the fight for civil rights. I was born on January 15, 1929, in Atlanta, Georgia. My father was a pastor, and my mother was a schoolteacher. From an early age, I was instilled with the values of faith, education, and service. Growing up in the South, I witnessed the harsh realities of segregation and racial injustice. My parents taught me the importance of standing up for what is right. I excelled in school, skipping 2 grades and entering Morehouse College at the age of 15. There I was inspired by the teachings of Dr. Benjamin Mays, who encouraged me to view Christianity as a tool for social change. After earning my degree in sociology, I attended Crozer Theological Seminary in Pennsylvania, where I became deeply influenced by the philosophy of nonviolence, especially the teachings of Mahatma Gandhi. I then pursued my doctorate in systematic theology at Boston University, where I met my beloved wife, Coretta Scott. Coretta and I shared a vision of a better world, and together we embarked on a journey to fight for civil rights. In 1954, I became the pastor of Dexter Avenue Baptist Church in Montgomery, Alabama, where I soon found myself at the forefront of the civil rights movement. In 1955, Rosa Parks was arrested for refusing to give up her seat to a white passenger on a Montgomery bus. This act of defiance sparked the Montgomery Bus Boycott, a pivotal moment in the struggle for civil rights. I was chosen to lead the boycott, and for 381 days, the African American community of Montgomery refused to ride the buses. Our peaceful protest faced violence and intimidation, but we remained steadfast. The boycott ended with a Supreme Court ruling that declared segregation on public buses unconstitutional. This victory demonstrated the power of nonviolent resistance and inspired the movement to grow. To build on our success, we formed the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, SCLC, in 1957. Our mission was to harness the moral authority and organizing power of Black churches to conduct non-violent protests for civil rights reform. We organized voter registration drives, marches, and campaigns to challenge segregation and discrimination. Our efforts were met with fierce resistance. We were jailed, beaten, and threatened, but we remained committed to our cause. Nonviolence was our guiding principle, and we believed that love and justice would ultimately triumph over hatred and oppression. In 1963, we launched the Birmingham campaign to confront the most segregated city in America. Our peaceful demonstrations were met with brutal violence from the police, who used dogs and fire hoses against us. Even children participating in the Children's Crusade were not spared. During this campaign, I was arrested and wrote the Letter from Birmingham Jail, a powerful defense of civil disobedience. I argued that injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere, and called on all Americans to stand against racial injustice. The images of brutality in Birmingham shocked the nation and galvanized support for our cause. On August 28, 1963, we organized the March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom, where over 250,000 people gathered at the Lincoln Memorial. It was there that I delivered my most famous speech, "I Have a Dream." I shared my vision of a world where my children would not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. My words echoed across the nation and the world, inspiring millions to join the fight for civil rights. The march was a turning point, leading to the passage of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, landmark legislation that dismantled legal segregation and protected voting rights for African Americans. Despite these victories, our struggle was far from over. Expanded my focus to address economic inequality, the Vietnam War, and poverty. I believe that true freedom required not only civil rights but also economic justice. My Poor People's Campaign aimed to address these issues, but it was met with resistance from both allies and adversaries. On April 4, 1968, while supporting striking sanitation workers in Memphis, Tennessee, I was assassinated. My life was cut short, but my dream lives on in the hearts and minds of all who continue to fight for justice, equality, and peace. My death was not the end of the movement. In fact, it ignited a flame that burns even brighter today. My teachings of nonviolence and love as powerful forces for change continue to inspire movements worldwide. From the Black Lives Matter movement to global human rights campaigns, the fight for justice continues. Look around and you will see my legacy in action. When people march for equality, demand justice, and stand up against oppression, they carry forward the torch of our struggle. The world remembers me not only for my speeches but for the principles I stood for: equality, justice, and nonviolence. My name is honored in monuments, schools, and streets around the globe. Each one a reminder that our fight is ongoing, that our dream is alive. Every step toward justice brings us closer to the world I envisioned, where all people live together in peace and harmony. Every year on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, people of all races and backgrounds come together to celebrate the progress we've made and to recommit to the journey ahead. It is a day of reflection, a day of service, and a day to honor the power of collective action. Thank you for joining me on this journey through my life and the civil rights movement. If you found this exploration of my story inspiring, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more historical insights. Let us know in the comments which historical figure you would like to see next. Until then, remember, the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice, and it is our duty to help it bend.